Hi everybody, this is the tutorial for activity 1.2, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I would encourage you to follow along on the Google Doc that has the different parts for this activity. I'm going to show you in a notebook each of the different parts, but in order for it to make sense, you should use the Google Doc that has the different parts with instructions. So in part 1, you're introduced to a thumbnail sketch. The instructions tell you to do the thumbnail sketch on Cartesian graph paper, which is just traditional graph paper. So you should have a notebook made out of a manila folder, put your name on the front, and when the folder opens, you'll have isometric or triangle graph paper on the left and traditional or Cartesian graph paper on the right. For the thumbnail sketch, it says in the instructions to choose a small object from your home or classroom, label the sketch, thumbnail sketch, and write the date. So today's date is 1/3/17. This is my thumbnail sketch. And a thumbnail sketch is a quick sketch, a small, quick sketch used to convey your ideas. So if I chose like a tissue box, for example, I could just quickly sketch the way I see a tissue box. And it also says to make sure the width and the height are proportional. So my height would be coming from there. And a tissue box sort of has like an opening here. And then once you've kind of lightly sketched, you can kind of darken some lines. And that is a quick thumbnail sketch. But remember, it can be anything that you choose. It doesn't have to be a tissue box. If you want to do anything else, feel free to do anything else. It does say that once you've completed your thumbnail sketch, trade with a classmate and see if they can guess what you have drawn and see if they can make any suggestions. Part 2 is an isometric sketch, which you would need the isometric graph paper. It says to put the date 1/3/17 and label this isometric sketch. The instructions say to create an isometric sketch for a design of a cardboard box that has a rectangular hole cut into one side. It is really important that you use a ruler for the isometric sketch. And in an isometric sketch, you use 30-degree angle lines drawn from the horizontal base to show 3 different sides or faces of your object simultaneously. Okay, so if I'm drawing a box, I'm going to do something similar to the tissue box, but a little bit different. So I draw one segment there. I'm going to leave a hole or a space. I'm going to draw another segment. And my lines should always be lining up with the lines on the triangle graph paper. So I'm never just drawing horizontal lines. I'm always drawing 30-degree angle lines from the horizontal. So I've drawn one part of the box. Now I'm going to make another part. So I've gone up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go up 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I can connect them. Let me see if I can come closer for you guys. Gonna move around a little bit for a second. That should be better. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Connect it here. And remember the instructions said that the cardboard box should have a rectangular hole cut into one side, so I left a space here. Now I'm going to make that hole. And there's my rectangular hole. I mean, the hole could have been up here, something like that. But there's my isometric sketch of a box with a hole cut into one side, and I've labeled it. The instructions say to trade with a classmate and compare and answer a few questions. Why are they not identical? How does an isometric sketch differ from a thumbnail sketch? Part 3 is going on to a multi-view sketch. So a complete multi-view sketch would have an isometric sketch included, and in the multi-view you would show an isometric sketch as well as a top, front, and right side view. So we'll do this next one together. And first it tells you to build from linking cubes an object shown in part 3 instructions. So the object looks like three cubes, and then just assembling it here for you. 3 cubes up and 2 cubes on the side. So if we go to sketch this, what we would do is use a ruler and I'm going to kind of determine a scale here. You can see if I can zoom in for you guys. I'm going to use 4 triangles to represent this whole length. So I'm basically using 2 triangles per cube side or edge. So I'm going to use 4 here, 4 triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and up 2 over here, and connect that. And now I'm going to go to here. Remember, this is what we're drawing. 2 here. And then connect that. And I'm kind of finishing out this bottom part. Alright, so this part that I've drawn here is basically the 2 brown cubes. Now I need to finish up with this column of 3 cubes here. So I'll start drawing that over here in the corner, And there is one cube that's hidden, so I'm going to count up 4 triangles from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 this way. 1, 2. 2 this way. 1, 2. Remember, 2 triangles make up an edge of a cube. And then I'm going to go and fill this part in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's the isometric sketch. I forgot one edge here to complete in. So there's that isometric sketch. All right, so next you're going to cut out this isometric sketch. Sorry. And then put that aside. On a fresh sheet of traditional graph paper, you're going to set up quadrants. Let me bring this up so you can see the whole page. Quadrants mean the term quadrants means 4. So you want to use the whole sheet of Cartesian graph paper. Doesn't have to be perfect, mine's a little off. In the upper right, you're going to label it isometric. Over here, you will label, upper left, you will label top view. Down here will be front, and this will be right side. We'll take some tape and you will place your isometric view up here. And now, when we look at the isometric view, the isometric view is shown, I'm going to put this aside for now, with the front view off to the left. So at an angle, it's at an angle. The front view is always off to the left. The right side view is on the right side. So if I go to the front, which was off to the left, I'm holding it in isometric, the front is off to the left, so this would be the front view. Then from front view, I can go to top view. You need to be in front view first in order to see the proper top view. Front, top, front, isometric, right side. Okay, so let's start with the front view. That's the front view. It sort of makes like an L. The thing to realize with the linking cubes is although you see all these lines in the linking cube, you're actually representing a solid object, so you do not want to include the lines. So when we start with the front view, I'll use 2 squares to represent a cube. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I might use 3 to represent it now, so it'll fill it up more nicely. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it goes up 3 cubes, so I'm going to use 9 over here, 9 edges of squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over 3, 1, 2, 3, over on the right side, finish up with 3. There would be a solid line or an edge line to show this edge here. That's the only line I include because there's an edge there. Okay? I pretend like these other lines aren't there because they're representing a solid object. Now, from the front side, I can go and do the top. The top looks like 1, 2, 3 cubes. I'm going to use some dotted lines or light lines to help me line up my sketches. It's very important that they line up. So in the top view, 6 across, up 3, over 3, oops, sorry, you can't see, up 3, over 3. In the top view, there's an edge right here. Same edge we included in the front view. I don't include that line because that's representing a solid object. So I will put a line here, solid line. And that's what you see from the top. Front and the right side looks like a backwards L, the right side. A backwards L. I want these to line up. So it's basically going to be the same as the front view, but reversed. And also there's an edge line there. And there would not be an edge line where we included one in the front view. So let's see how that will come out. One, two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went a little too far. Then up 9. And because I drew in these lines to guide me, I know that's automatically 9 because it lines up with the front view. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Up 3. 1, 2, 3. Over 3. 1, 2, 3. And then up 3. And fill this one in. Alright, so in the right side view, there's an edge here. See the edge formed by those two pieces? And I'm disregarding these edges because I'm pretending it's a solid object. So I'll go in and place that edge line. And there is our fully completed multi-view sketch. It has an isometric as well as 3 primary views. For part 4, actually, I'm sorry, it's still considered part 3 multi-view sketching. I will provide you with printouts like this. Oops, sorry. And in the printouts, you'll cut the isometric, build from linking cubes, and create another multi-view sketch. So let's do A together, and you'll do B, C, and D on your own. When you cut them out, you want to not cut along the perimeter. You want to leave some of the graph paper that's behind it, so you remember how it should be placed in relation to its graph paper. So if we use the back of this, set up our quadrants. Got a little crooked there. All right, isometric goes up here. Tape. Piece of tape. Isometric goes in the upper right. What goes up here? Did you say top? You're correct if you did. Front. And what goes here? That's correct, the right side. Alright, so now you build this from linking cubes. Take apart our old one. It's kind of like a U. Alright, so looks sort of like this. Okay, in the isometric view you see 3 faces. You see the top, the right, and the front. So remember the front is off to the left, top, right. Okay, so this should help you as you manipulate or change your views. So in isometric, the front view is off to the left. So if we start with the front view, we would position it like that. So you go from isometric, the front view is like off to the left here. So this is the front view, okay? So if we use 3 edges per cube, we'd have 9 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 9 across. And then we have 2 edges here, an edge line here and an edge line here. So I'll go in and add those edge lines. So the solid lines show edge lines for lines or edges that are visible. You'll need to be in the front view in order to see the top view. So you go from front to top view, and it looks like an upside down U. I'll use some lines, some light lines or dotted lines to make sure everything lines up. Your top view should always. Hi everybody, this is part 2 of technical drawing, or a picture is worth 1,000 words. We left off with our first example of a multi-view sketch, or I guess technically our second example, but it is the first where you cut out from paper and you use the isometric and you complete the associated multi-views. So we completed the front view in part 1 of the tutorial. The front view. If we look at the isometric, a reminder that from the isometric view, the front is kind of like off to the left, the front view. So you have to position it like this. So from isometric, you position like that to get the front view, then from front you can get top. So let's move on to the top view. We had been using some dotted or lightly drawn lines to align or line up our front view and our top view. Once we have those in place, remember they're light or dotted, we can do the top view, which will look like that. We're going to disregard these lines that we see between the linking cubes because the linking cubes are being used to represent a solid object. If you look here, this is a solid piece. We're just using the linking cubes to represent this solid piece. So I will go ahead and do my top edge, which is 9 across. Then 1, 2, 3 down. I'll have 3 across, and then 3 across. Oops, and I made a mistake because that's not right. I have to go and erase that. It's actually 6 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 down, I can do 3. And then 3, and my left edge and my right edge, and then 3 in this inner cutout, and then 3 over here. So that's what you should have for your top view, and it lines up with the front view. And now for the right side view, if this is the isometric, the front is off to the left, the right side is off to the right. It's going to look like 2 cubes, but we are going to include a hidden line. The hidden line because there's a hidden edge over here. So from the right side view, I know you see this separation of the linking cubes, but over here that doesn't exist. But there's a hidden edge over here. And we'll use a dotted line to represent that hidden edge. So some light lines to line up my front view with my right side view. And then I can erase my lines for lining up came out a little dark, so I feel like that's maybe misleading. So I'm going to erase some of those alignment lines so it's more clear. and there's a hidden line between, which we would use a dotted line. And that is because from the right view, there's a hidden edge here. So from the right view, there's this hidden edge. So we use a dotted line there. Okay, so this is what a completed multi-view sketch would look like with the isometric. The top view lines up with the front view lines up with the right side view. And you are set to go on and create multi-view sketches for parts B, C, and D. You'd cut these out, use more graph paper, and set up your quadrants. Use linking cubes to build them, and practice your multi-view sketches. Please make sure you remember to have the sketches line up, both vertically and horizontally, and you remember to include edge lines where there are visible edges, and hidden lines where there are hidden edges. Remember to collaborate with one another and check in with your group members, and I hope you enjoy technical drawing.